Okay, everyone. So what we're going to talk about today is perpendicular 2F, all right? So the main idea with perpendicular is that it means you're going to take whatever the slope of your original line is, and you're going to flip it, the fraction, and change the sign. So that's two things that have to happen. So for example, when I have 3/4 right here, what I'm going to do here to get the new slope, my perpendicular slope, hold on, that's really large writing. Let's change that down to that. Perfect. To get my perpendicular slope, I'm going to change the sign, and then I'm going to flip the fraction. So two things happen. I went from positive 3/4 to negative 4/3. Here, when you have a whole number, you have -4. That we're going to write this as -4/1. That is going to be a perpendicular slope of positive 1/4. Now, of course, you're not going to see the positive there, but that is what the new slope would be. As you can see, perpendicular, the way it looks is they are going to intersect, and they're going to make a perfect 90-degree angle or a corner right there. That's got to be that corner, okay? So like here are two lines that were not perpendicular. This is perpendicular, right? Because you have that perfect corner there. So notice the difference between those two lines right there. Okay, so let's look at some example questions that we've got going on with perpendicular equations. So it says, what is the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the point 2, -2 and is perpendicular to the line represented by y equals 2/5 x plus 2. So two important pieces of information. I need an equation that touches this point, 2, -2. All right, so passes through, that just means touches this point, which we could see on Desmos if we need to, and is perpendicular. And when I see this word perpendicular, I think opposite flip. So I change the sign and I flip the fraction to this line, y equals 2/5. So the first thing I do is I look at this and I find the slope of this line. Well, the slope of this line is m equals 2/5. So my perpendicular slope is going to be the opposite, which means I change the sign. So this is positive, meaning this will become negative. And then I'm going to flip the fraction to become not 2/5, but 5/2. And I look at each of my answer choices and I kind of just check out the slope for each one. So this is 5/2, but that's positive, so A is wrong. This is 5/2, once again positive, so B is wrong. C has a -5/2, so this is a big maybe for me. And D has a -5/2, so another maybe for me. So at this point, you can either use Desmos or the Inspire to plug into your calculator or see if it hits the point. I'm going to use Desmos real quick here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Desmos. Sorry, not that one. Let me put this to the side. Goodbye. All right, let's do this again. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to have Desmos here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot the point. So that is 2, -2. We're going to label it. I can see it right there. I'm then going to graph answer choice C, y equals -5 divided by 2, and then x minus 3. I'm looking at this line right here and seeing it does not touch the point, right? It does not touch 2, -2. Let's graph answer choice D and just see what happens there. So we got y equals -5 divided by 2, x plus 3. And boom, you can see this green line very nicely hits the point there. My answer is going to be D because it touches the line. So D is the correct answer. C does not touch 2, -2. And that's that first question right there. So here, example questions, the graph of line W is shown below. Which equation describes a line perpendicular to W that contains the point -2, -2? So I look here and I've got two important pieces of information: perpendicular, opposite flip. But then it says this key thing, it's perpendicular to W. And I just kind of go, where's W? Well, the graph is of line W. So this right here, this is line W. Meaning I need something that's perpendicular to this line, okay? So what I have to do is find the slope of this line. So I'm going to pick 2 points. I'm going to pick this point right here, which this point would be -2, 7. And I'm gonna pick another point. I'm gonna pick this point right here, which would be 3, -3. And I'm gonna go to Desmos and find the slope of this line. So I'm gonna make a table with those 2 points. So I've got -2, 7, and then 3, -3 as my 2 points. I'm gonna write y1 squiggle, that's x, y1 squiggle mx1 plus b. I'm gonna get my m, and I get my m is equal to -2. So my slope for line W, m is equal to -2. Well, my perpendicular slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal. So remember, this is -2/1, so this will be +1/2. All right, so I can see A has got a slope of -2, so that's wrong. B is a maybe because of the 1/2. C is a maybe because of the 1/2. D is a -2, so that's wrong. Okay, so I'm in between B and C, which comes my second piece of information. Which one passes through the point -2, 2? So I can go to Desmos. I'm going to plot that point -2, -2. That's 3. We're going to hit label. And we can see right over here. Sorry, let me get rid of those red points. Oh, no, this is fine. This purple line is line W, by the way, that we have on Desmos over here. Here, we want the line perpendicular that passes through this. So I'm going to graph these 2 remaining answer choices, starting with B. Y equals 1 divided by 2. Then X minus 3. And I can see that's perpendicular, but it's not actually going to go through -2, -2. So we're now going to graph the other answer choice, hoping that one provides us a little bit better results. And boom, passes through that point. You can see that black line is touching it right there. The answer here is going to be answer choice C. B is incorrect, does not touch the point. Okay, we have 2 more examples here. 2 more examples, and we're going to run them through real quickly. Okay, it says, what's the equation of a line perpendicular to 2x minus 8y equals 3? This one, it's not so obvious what the slope is because we're no longer in y equals mx plus b. We're in standard form. That contains the point -8, 11. So what I do for this one this time is, if you know how to find the slopes using -a/b, approach it that way. But if you're going to struggle with this question, I would immediately start with this true false. So we got xy here. So I'm going to put 2 parentheses minus 8 parentheses equals -104. All I'm doing is replacing x and y with parentheses. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to do the same thing down here. And we're going to plug each of these into our calculator after we plug in the points. So I'm going to write, every time I write -8, I'll do it in red because that's my x value. So everywhere there should be x, I'm going to put -8 instead. And now in my y values, I'm going to write in blue. So everywhere there should be a y, I'm going to put 11 instead. And everything in this green box, that's going to go into your calculator. It's going to tell you either true or false. So as you guys go through this and you start to put these in your calculator, you should get that the first answer is true. That doesn't mean you're done. You should definitely get that the second answer is also going to be, that's +16, that's 88. So that should be true as well. This is -64 plus 22, which is true. And then the last one should be also true. They all touch the point, which is a lot of fun. So now what we're going to have to do at this point is we're actually going to have to find the slope for each of these. So we're going to take this first equation. Remember, m equals -a/b should be the slope. So I'm going to put the negative. A is 2. B is -8. If you go to Desmos, we're going to put 2 divided by 8. And we should get 0.25, which is also 1 over 4. So I'm looking for the opposite reciprocal. So the slope I want is going to be negative 4 over 1. So let me create myself some room here. I'm going to erase this. In the class kick, you guys should have a lot of room at the bottom of this problem, so you guys can definitely work down there to copy this. Okay, so here, m is going to be negative a over b. Remember, what I'm looking for is negative 4. I want negative 4. So I'm going to put negative 2 over negative 8. That's 1 over 4. That's the same slope. You can also kind of see this is 2x minus 8y. That's 2x minus 8y. This is parallel. Here, m perpendicular, let's try it. Negative 2 over 8. Well, that's also going to be 1/4. Watch, if you put this into Desmos, negative 2 divided by 8 is also 1/4. So that's not correct. So now for this one, we're going to put m perpendicular. We're going to put negative 8 over positive 2, which would get us a negative 4. So this is a big maybe. And d m perpendicular would be a negative 8 divided by negative 2, which is a positive 4. We do not want a positive 4. We want a negative 4. So the correct answer here is C. Okay, so for this last one, you can kind of do the same deal here. It says, what is the equation of a line that is perpendicular to 4x minus 6y equals 10 that contains the point 3.4, negative 1.6? So we want to be perpendicular to this line and contains this point. So this one I'm actually going to do backwards to the other one. This one I'm going to start with the slope. So I'm going to get m equals negative a over b. Well, a is 4, and b is negative 6. And if you put that into Desmos, you should get a positive 2 over 3. So for us, in a different color, we're going to be looking for m perpendicular, negative 3 over 2. Opposite flip, right? That's what this means. Opposite flip. So here, let's look. M perpendicular. We're going to put negative. A is 3. Oh, that's not that, though. That's a negative. So we're going to put this. A is 3. That goes on the top. B is 2. That goes there. Negative 3 over 2. If you put that in your calculator, you get the same thing. So A is a maybe to me. Let's go to answer choice B. I get a negative. I put the line. A is 2. Let's put that on top. B is negative 3. Put that in your calculator. That's 2/3. We're going to cross B out. That's wrong. Let's go to answer choice C. M perpendicular. We get a negative. We're going to put the line. We get 3 over 2. Same deal as A. That's a maybe. D, M perpendicular, negative. Put the line. 2 over 3. Negative 2 over 3 is not the correct thing we want. We want negative 3 over 2. So now at this point, I'm going to take my two equations, my two final answer choices. And you got two options, like we've shown before. The trick here now is these two will both be perpendicular. We've done this part. We're curious which one goes through that point. So you can either go to Desmos or you can do true false. I personally prefer Desmos, so I'm going to run there real quick. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to plot that point. Let's zoom in here. That point is 3.4, comma, minus 1.6. I'm going to label it, find it on your graph. I'm then going to graph each answer choice. Oh, just kidding. It's in standard form. I did the thing you guys are going to do. This is not y equals, so you cannot graph it. So we're going to actually plug in. So we get 3 times parentheses 3.4 plus 2 times parentheses negative 1.6 and gets you 10. And then 3 parentheses 3.4 plus 2 times negative 1.6, which gets you 7. And you end up discovering that the correct answer here is going to be, I believe it is A. Let me run it through real quick. And yep, you should get this is true in your calculator and this is false. And so the correct answer here is A. And that is perpendicular. So thanks so much for y'all's time. Remember to like and subscribe. Rock and roll. Bye-bye.